The Roman philosopher stands in the forum. Around him, merchants shout prices, traders calculate profits, bankers collect interest. Everyone moves with urgency. Everyone believes their financial survival depends on external forces they cannot control. The philosopher watches in silence. He knows something they do not. 3 principles that make a person financially untouchable. Not immune to loss, but immune to the fear of loss. These 3 rules come from Stoic philosophy. They have survived 2,000 years because they work. Not sometimes, not for some people. They work universally for anyone willing to apply them. This video reveals the exact framework the Stoics used to build wealth that could not be destroyed by market crashes, political upheaval, or economic collapse. You will learn why these principles protect capital better than diversification, why they create financial independence faster than aggressive investing, and why most people will never follow them despite their simplicity. A man receives his paycheck. He feels a brief moment of relief. Then anxiety returns. The bills are waiting. The credit card balance is growing. The retirement account is not growing fast enough. He makes good money, more than his parents ever made. Yet he feels poor. He feels trapped. He tells himself he needs to earn more, that a raise will solve everything, that the next promotion will finally bring security. But he is wrong. His problem is not income. His problem is that he has violated all 3 Stoic money rules. He has built his financial life on sand. Every dollar that comes in flows out immediately. He owns things that own him. He has confused wealth with income. And because of this confusion, he will never feel secure no matter how much he earns. This is the trap most people live in. They increase income but also increase expenses. They climb the ladder but never gain ground. They work harder but feel more trapped. The financial system encourages this. Lenders offer larger loans as income grows. Advertisers target higher earners with premium products. Culture equates spending with success. The result is people earning 6 figures who live paycheck to paycheck. High income but zero wealth. Impressive lifestyle but no freedom. You have likely felt this same trap. The sense that you are working hard but getting nowhere. That your income grows but your freedom does not. That you are one emergency away from crisis despite years of employment. This is not your fault. The financial system is designed to keep you in this state. But the Stoics offer a way out. 3 rules. Simple but not easy. Known but rarely followed. Available to anyone willing to prioritize freedom over status. The first Stoic money rule is radical. Own nothing that can own you. Seneca wrote this in a letter to a friend who was proudly showing off his new estate. The friend expected praise. Seneca offered a warning instead. You do not own this house. This house owns you. It requires maintenance. It demands taxes. It needs protection. It creates anxiety about loss. Every possession beyond necessity is not wealth. It is obligation disguised as wealth. This principle destroys modern consumer culture. We are taught that accumulation equals success, that the person with the most things wins. That wealth is visible. The bigger the house, the nicer the car, the more expensive the watch, the more successful the person. This is completely backward. The Stoics understood the opposite. True wealth is invisible. It is freedom from dependence on things, the ability to lose possessions without losing peace. The power to walk away from anything without fear. Apply this to your life. Look around your home. How many things do you own that require maintenance, insurance, storage, or mental energy? Your car payment, your mortgage, your subscriptions, your possessions that need protection from theft or damage. Each of these things is not neutral. Each creates obligation. Each reduces your freedom. Each makes you more vulnerable to financial disruption. The Stoics practiced voluntary simplicity not from poverty but from wisdom. Marcus Aurelius owned an empire but lived simply. He could have surrounded himself with luxury. Instead, he chose restraint. Epictetus owned nothing but possessed complete freedom. As a former slave, he understood that possessions create their own form of slavery. Seneca had wealth but regularly practiced living as if he had lost everything. He would spend weeks living on bread and water, sleeping on hard surfaces, wearing rough clothes, not as punishment but as preparation. They understood that the less you need, the less you can be controlled. The fewer obligations you carry, the more choices you have. An employer cannot intimidate someone who can walk away. A market crash cannot devastate someone who owns little. An economic recession cannot destroy someone whose needs are minimal. This is true financial control, not having so much that nothing can hurt you, but needing so little that most threats are irrelevant. This does not mean live in deprivation. It means be selective. Own things that serve clear purposes. Reject things that exist only for display. Eliminate possessions that create more problems than they solve. Every item you remove from your life is weight lifted. Every obligation you eliminate is freedom gained. This is wealth building through subtraction rather than addition. Consider housing. Most people buy the largest house they can afford. The financial system encourages this. Lenders approve maximum amounts. Real estate agents show expensive properties first. Culture suggests house size equals success, but a large house is not wealth. It is a monthly drain, maintenance costs that never end, property taxes that increase yearly, heating and cooling that consume resources, furniture to fill rooms you barely use, time spent cleaning spaces that serve no purpose, mental energy managing it all. The Stoic approach is different. Buy less house than you can afford. Choose location over size. Prioritize low maintenance over impressive features. Select a home that serves your actual needs rather than your ego's desires. The money you do not spend on housing becomes actual wealth, capital you control, freedom you can deploy, security that no job loss can immediately threaten. This is how you become untouchable, not by owning impressive things, but by refusing to let things own you. The same principle applies to vehicles. A car is transportation, not identity, not status, not investment. Buy reliable and boring. Pay cash if possible. Avoid loans that create years of obligation. Reject the cultural message that your vehicle reflects your worth. Every dollar you do not spend on a depreciating asset is a dollar available for actual wealth building. This is capital preservation through intelligent restraint. Think about the mathematics. A $30,000 car loses value daily. It requires insurance, fuel, maintenance, registration. Over 10 years, the total cost approaches $60,000 when you include all expenses. A $15,000 reliable car serves the same transportation purpose. The $45,000 difference, invested consistently, becomes significant wealth. This is the choice. Impressive vehicle now or financial independence sooner. The Stoics chose freedom every time. If you understand this first rule, write unowned in the comments. This signals that you recognize the trap of possession, that you see how obligation masquerades as wealth, that you are ready to build freedom through subtraction. The second Stoic money rule is even more challenging. Live as if you have already lost everything. This sounds pessimistic. It is not. It is preparation. The Stoics called this negative visualization. The practice of imagining worst-case scenarios not to create fear, but to eliminate it. When you mentally rehearse loss, Actual loss loses its power to destroy you. Seneca recommended this exercise constantly. Set aside 1 day per month, live on minimal resources, eat simple food, sleep on the floor, wear old clothes, experience the discomfort you fear. Prove to yourself that you can survive it. This practice has direct financial application. When you know you can live on very little, you stop fearing market crashes. You stop making desperate decisions to avoid loss. You gain the ultimate financial control, the ability to tolerate any outcome. Most people avoid thinking about financial loss. They believe positive thinking attracts positive outcomes. This is magical thinking. The Stoics were realists. They knew that loss is inevitable. Markets crash, jobs disappear, economies collapse, health fails. The question is not whether you will face loss. The question is whether you will be prepared when it arrives. The unprepared person panics. They sell investments at the bottom. They make desperate career moves. They accumulate debt trying to maintain lifestyle. They spiral into anxiety and depression. The prepared person remains calm. They have already lived through loss mentally. They know they can survive. They continue their strategy. They capitalize on opportunities while others panic. This is the advantage of negative visualization. Apply this practically. Calculate your absolute minimum monthly expenses, not your current spending, your survival number. What do you need for basic housing, food, and health? For most people, this number is far lower than they imagine. Strip away every non-essential expense. Cancel subscriptions. Eliminate convenience purchases. Remove status spending. What remains is your true need. Once you know this number, you gain power. You understand how long your emergency fund will last. You know which expenses are truly necessary. You can make career decisions from strength rather than fear. This practice also reveals financial waste. When you live minimally for even 1 day, you notice how much spending is habitual rather than necessary. The convenience purchases, the status expenses, the mindless consumption. These habits, repeated over years, prevent wealth accumulation. A $5 coffee daily is $1,800 annually. A $100 monthly subscription service is $1,200 yearly. Multiple small expenses compound into massive wealth prevention. When you experience deliberate simplicity, you see these patterns clearly. You can choose to change them. The Stoics went further. They recommended actually experiencing loss when possible. Give away possessions you value. Fast occasionally. Reduce comfort deliberately. This is not about punishment. It is about building psychological resilience. The more you practice voluntary discomfort, the less power involuntary discomfort has over you. You become untouchable not because loss cannot reach you, but because loss cannot break you. Apply this to investing. Most people cannot tolerate volatility because they have never practiced tolerating discomfort. When their portfolio drops 20%, panic takes over. They cannot sleep. They check prices constantly. They sell at the bottom to stop the pain. They abandon their strategy. They destroy wealth through emotional decisions. The Stoic investor is different. They have mentally rehearsed loss. They have practiced living with less. When markets crash, they remain calm. They follow their plan. They preserve capital while others panic. They buy when others sell. They build wealth during the crisis. This is the secret to long-term wealth. Not avoiding loss, but remaining rational during loss. Not preventing market downturns, but continuing to invest through them. Not eliminating risk, but managing your response to risk. The Stoics understood that external events are neutral. Your judgment about events is what creates suffering or peace. A market crash is just data. Your panic about the market crash is the problem. Separate the two. Control your response. Remain untouchable. The third Stoic money rule completes the framework. Measure wealth by what you reject, not what you accept. This inverts everything modern culture teaches. We are trained to measure success by accumulation, by salary increases, by investment returns, by possessions acquired. The Stoics measured success by temptation resisted, by offers declined, by desires overcome. Epictetus taught that freedom is not having what you want. Freedom is not wanting what you do not have. This distinction is everything. The person who earns 100,000 and wants 200,000 is poor. They live in constant dissatisfaction. They feel behind. They envy those with more. Their income is high, but their peace is non-existent. The person who earns 50,000 and wants nothing more is rich. They have enough. They feel content. They focus on life rather than accumulation. Their income is modest, but their freedom is complete. Wealth is not an amount. It is a relationship between resources and desires. Apply this to your life. How many financial offers have you rejected in the past year? How many purchases did you consider and decline? How many lifestyle upgrades did you resist? How many times did you say no to social pressure? Each rejection is a victory. Each temptation overcome is wealth preserved. Each desire mastered is freedom gained. This is financial discipline in action. This is capital preservation through self-control. Modern advertising exists to create desire, to make you feel inadequate, to convince you that happiness requires purchase. You see thousands of these messages daily. Each one is an attack on your financial independence. The Stoics taught that desire is the enemy of peace, that every want you eliminate is suffering removed, that the path to wealth is not earning more but wanting less. This requires understanding how desire is manufactured. Advertisers study psychology. They create problems you did not know you had. They offer solutions you did not need. They associate products with identity. They suggest that purchase equals self-improvement. All of this is designed to separate you from your money, to prevent wealth building, to keep you dependent on income. The person who sees through this becomes wealthy almost automatically. This is not deprivation. This is liberation. When you stop wanting what you do not have, you become rich instantly. Not because your circumstances change, because your perception changes. You recognize that you already have enough. That security does not come from accumulation, but from contentment. That financial freedom is available right now if you simply stop desiring what is beyond your reach. Consider lifestyle inflation. Most people increase spending as income increases. New income creates new desires. They move to nicer neighborhoods. They buy nicer cars. They take nicer vacations. Their expenses rise to match their income. The gap never widens. They never build wealth because they never create surplus. A person earning 40,000 spending 40,000 has zero wealth building. A person earning 100,000 spending 100,000 has the same result. Higher income but identical outcome. No progress, no freedom, just more impressive displays of consumption. The Stoic approach is opposite. As income rises, desires remain fixed. The gap widens. Wealth accumulates. Freedom grows. A person earning 40,000 spending 25,000 builds 15,000 annually. A person earning 100,000 still spending 25,000 builds 75,000 annually. Same lifestyle, dramatically different outcome. This is the power of fixed desires combined with growing income. This is how ordinary people become financially untouchable. This requires active resistance. Culture will pressure you constantly. Friends will suggest expensive activities. Family will expect gifts. Colleagues will compete through consumption. Every week brings new temptation. The person who becomes untouchable is the person who can watch others spend while they save. Who can resist peer pressure? Who can define success internally rather than externally? Who can measure wealth by temptation, rejected rather than possession acquired? The three rules work together. Own nothing that can own you. Live as if you have already lost everything. Measure wealth by what you reject. These principles create a fortress, not against loss but against the fear of loss. You become untouchable because external events cannot shake your internal state. Market crashes become irrelevant. Job loss becomes manageable. Economic downturns become survivable. This is true financial independence. Not having so much that loss does not matter, but needing so little that loss cannot destroy you. Not accumulating enough to feel secure, but eliminating desire so security is already present. Not building wealth that protects you from the world, but building character that remains stable regardless of what the world does. A man sits in a small apartment. He has followed the 3 Stoic money rules for 5 years. He owns very little. His furniture is minimal. His possessions fit in one room. He earns a modest salary, but his expenses are lower. He saves 60% of his income. He practices voluntary discomfort monthly. He rejects lifestyle upgrades constantly. His friends think he is strange. His family worries he is depriving himself. But he knows something they do not. He is untouchable. He has 6 years of expenses saved. He can leave his job tomorrow without fear. He can survive any market crash. He can weather any economic storm. Not because he is rich by conventional standards, but because he has eliminated the dependencies that make others vulnerable. He owns nothing that owns him. He has practiced loss until it holds no fear. He has mastered desire until wanting has no power. His coworkers carry stress. They worry about layoffs. They cannot afford to be unemployed for even 2 months. They need their jobs desperately. This need makes them accept poor treatment. It prevents them from taking career risks. It traps them in positions they hate. The man who followed the Stoic rules has none of this stress. He works because he chooses to, not because he must. This is the difference between financial slavery and financial freedom. This is available to you, not in decades, not after you earn more, right now, today, through simple decisions repeated consistently. The system will tell you this is impossible, that you need to consume to be happy. That wealth comes from accumulation. That security requires impressive income. All of this is false. The Stoics proved it false 2,000 years ago. Millions have proven it false since. The question is whether you will believe it, whether you will apply it, whether you have the discipline to choose freedom over status, to prioritize peace over possessions, to value independence over impressive displays. The path is clear. The rules are simple. The results are guaranteed for those who follow them consistently. Own nothing that can own you. Start today. Identify one possession that creates obligation without value. Eliminate it. Feel the freedom. Repeat monthly. Within a year, you will have removed dozens of obligations. Your life will be lighter, your mind clearer, your wealth growing. Live as if you have already lost everything. Practice voluntary discomfort. Fast for a day. Sleep without luxury. Prove to yourself that you are stronger than you believe. Do this monthly. Watch your fear of loss dissolve. Watch your confidence in survival grow. Measure wealth by what you reject. Track every temptation you overcome. Celebrate every desire you master. Watch your wealth grow through subtraction. This is not theory. This is practice, not philosophy. This is action, not complex strategy. This is simple discipline applied daily. The Stoics did not write about wealth building. They lived it. They demonstrated that freedom comes not from having more but from needing less. That security comes not from accumulation but from self-mastery. That financial independence is available to anyone willing to reject the system that profits from your dependence. You began this video watching people in the forum, merchants shouting, traders calculating, everyone believing their security depends on external forces. The philosopher knows different. He has applied the 3 rules. He is untouchable, not because he cannot lose, but because loss cannot break him, not because he has everything, but because he needs nothing, not because the market favors him, but because his peace does not depend on the market. This is the destination, not impressive wealth, but unshakable freedom, not large numbers in accounts, but complete independence from external validation, not security that depends on circumstances, but security that survives any circumstance. The 3 Stoic money rules create this state. They worked in ancient Rome. They work today. They will work for you if you apply them. The choice is yours. Continue building wealth through accumulation. Chase higher income. Acquire more possessions. Hope that eventually you will have enough to feel secure, or follow the Stoics. Build wealth through elimination. Master desire. Own nothing that owns you. Become untouchable through simplicity rather than complexity. Through subtraction rather than addition. Through wisdom rather than accumulation. Subscribe to Money and Stoicism to master your finances and your mind. Like this video if you seek true freedom.